Whenever we imagine investing some of our hard-earned money, we usually picture taking some random dollar amount and investing it over time, with the hope that at some point it would be worth a little bit more than when we started, which is why this video is sponsored by nobody. My video and my channel has no sponsors, and I've got nothing to sell you, but please, whatever you do, don't watch the rest of this video in slow motion, otherwise you will not know how any of that was done still. In other news, season 6 of Black Mirror is now live. It's not actually on Netflix though or anything like that, it's actually live. Yeah, it's reality and you can experience it for yourself. All you gotta do is go outside your front door and there it is. Not gonna lie, this season of Black Mirror is really hard to watch, but I do think that it's important that all of us do watch. I wanna share with you exactly how I tried investing and lost over $200,000. And hopefully together we can learn from my silly mistakes. But first, I want to tell you that I hope you're okay, I hope you're staying safe, and throughout my life, I've done everything in my power to educate myself across different facets of life to make me a better person. But I'm new to YouTube and this whole social media influencer thing, which is a weird thing to say. I don't feel like I've got any influence over anyone else, and I don't say that out of modesty. I say it because I mean it. I found success here on YouTube very fast, but my life doesn't feel like it's any different. I don't feel like anything has changed. But considering everything that's going on in the world right now, it has now taken more effort from me to stay silent than to speak up and at least address and acknowledge everything that's going on. And even though I don't know my place in this role exactly, I do recognize that I do have a voice and I do have a platform to speak up against all of the violence and all of the injustice that is so wrong that's going on in the world right now. Regardless of what you think of me as a person here on social media and YouTube or other people that are public figures and whether or not I'm one, I'm still trying to figure all that out myself. Just understand that privately, behind closed doors, I am doing everything in my power to offer up my strengths financially and otherwise to continue supporting people that are marginalized. But I don't want to brag about this stuff on social media. I don't want to tell everybody what I'm doing because right now it's not about me. It's not about what I think. It's not about what I'm doing, and it's not about what I've done. Right now it's about helping people that are violated, helping people that are marginalized, so that together we can build a better world, a world that's equal for everybody so that we can ultimately be on the right side of history. I hope that makes sense. But on a lighter note, this is a literal interpretation of what's going on with the world and my wallet, because when I tried to invest my money, instead of making money like you're supposed to, I ended up losing money. It's my story of losing, learning, flying, literally, but mostly just crying because I did lose a lot of money, and I do want to share with you so that hopefully you can learn from these valuable lessons because they might just change the way that you think about investing. I promise it's going to be worth it. Worth it. Let's begin. Hi, my name is Andrei Jikh, and let me take you back to a time wizard. Now back to 2011 when it started with a Google search on how to make money online. Of course it starts there. And it was there that I discovered this strange article that referenced this weird mysterious thing called Bitcoin. So I thought to myself, Bitcoin? Is that like a Bitcoin or a Bitcoin? I got dad jokes for days. It was this magic money that you could send to people over the internet. I thought it was really cool, so I dedicated a lot of my time and research to understanding this new technology. What I found was that it was a peer-to-peer, decentralized system of transferring value from A to B without an intermediary. Words. I understood some of them, but basically what it meant is that it was a digital currency, a digital money that we could send to each other from across the world, A to B, almost instantaneously, without paying much of a fee and without the banks telling us that we couldn't, and we didn't have to ask for permission. And on top of that, it promised to be disruptive technology towards monetary policy and the remittance industry, and it promised to change the world. But to me, that was just more words on the computer screen, and I didn't care for any of it. All I cared about was that it could be worth just one of something, and if you invested it and held on to it long enough, it could be worth 400 of something. Yes, Sign me up, Scotty. But you see, at the time, there wasn't a place to buy Bitcoin safely because there wasn't anything like Coinbase or Gemini, which are actually very reputable brokerages right now. They didn't exist at the time, and I also didn't know where to store this digital asset, which was literally nothing more than a giant string of numbers and letters on a computer screen. But eventually I did find a place, and it was called Mt. Gox. And it was pretty much one of the only few legitimate places at that time where you could buy your Bitcoin and store them in what's called a hot wallet. Let me demonstrate. A hot wallet. Now that's not really what it means, it just means online. I just wanted an excuse to use it again. A few brain cells died there, but what I didn't know at the time was Mt. Gox used to be a front for Magic the Gathering, which is a children's card game. Well, it's not really for children, but it started off as children, kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh!, which meant because I'm a child, it's a perfect match. But what it also meant was that safety and security was not at the list of their priorities. Of course, fast forward to 2014, and Mt. Gox experienced the largest breach that a brokerage had ever seen in history at that time. 850,000 Bitcoins stolen and completely wiped off the map, which at the time represented a value of nearly $450 million worth of stolen money. Now, in today's prices, at roughly $10,000 per Bitcoin, that represents closer to $8.075 billion, and it'll probably go up from there. But luckily, I was not amongst the many people who lost their coins, because at that time, I held my Bitcoin somewhere else. And in 2014, I bought in at $600 per coin, yielding me an initial investment of $3,600. But I still had no clue what I was investing in. And that is mistaken lesson number one that I would love to impart upon thee. And that is, you need to know your what. You need to understand what you're investing in, and the second thing you need to understand is why you're investing. Because if you don't understand what you're investing in, whether that's crypto or real estate or the stock market, you're going to inevitably lose that investment when it declines in value. And the second thing is you need to understand and have a good mentality of why you're investing, because that's your conviction to hold on through tough times. Now, fast forward to 2 years later, I totally forget about my Bitcoins, and I come back and I'm super excited to open up the app and check what my investment's worth, and I went from $3,600 all the way down to $1,500. So my initial principal was worth less than half its price because each Bitcoin was now worth in the $300 range. And of course, I'm totally upset. And because I lacked the conviction and the belief in my investment, I sold all of it almost immediately. And with that $1,500, I buy myself this. Yeah, this is actually called 100% gold misdirection, because this is just meant to represent what I physically look like and feel inside. Stupid, because this is the reality. This is what I bought with that money. A drone. Yeah, you know that feeling that you get? It's that itch when you're like, I must buy something right now, but you know you really shouldn't and you should save your money, but you decide to buy it anyway. That's what happened here. But a few years later, after flying it and of course getting my enjoyment out of it, I crashed it and now it doesn't even fly anymore and the camera's just, it's not even on it. Not only did that impulsive decision cost me my drone, but it also cost me my first $100,000 because those 6 Bitcoins that I lost went on to become worth roughly $120,000. Not gonna lie, I legit wanted to cry because 100 grand at that point in my life was life-changing money. But I bought back in at $2,000 right before the 2017 bull run. But this time I made sure to understand my what my investment was, and I made sure to have my conviction, my why. Because cool whip. No, because I invested in a ton of different cryptos like Ethereum, IOTA, Ripple, Bitcoin, and a few others because I wanted to protect myself against my own ignorance, against what I didn't know. It's the same reason why Warren Buffett doesn't just invest in one company and he buys multiple. It's the same principle. Bitcoin took off in 2017, and that is where I made my second big mistake, and that's what cost me yet another $100,000 because I invested $20,000 of my initial principal value, my own money. That $20,000 at its peak went on to become worth roughly $111,000 and some change. It was insane. And of course I thought to myself at that time, game over, crypto is the new standard, forget the gold standard, nope, we're in crypto now. And I sold none of it. I thought it was gonna keep going up and up because I got greedy. and I was afraid of making the same mistake that I initially made of selling too soon, so I just held on to it, which sadly enough, that $111,000 went back down all the way to $13,000. So it went below my initial principal value. Now, what I should have done was at some point in time taken profits. What I should have done was sold at least $20,000 worth of my initial principal, because what that would do is remove my skin from the game. Believe it or not, doing this helps remove you from making any irrational decisions based on emotions alone, because that way, by recouping or recovering your initial investment, you start to play with something that isn't yours and you become detached. So if you lose all of that money, well then who cares, because you're right back to where you started and you actually lost $0 of your own money. The first lesson I learned was to always take a profit on the way up with crypto. This isn't necessarily true with the stock market if you're a long-term investor or a dividend guy like me, but it can still apply with companies that are overvalued. And the second lesson I learned was that I need to pay attention to the fundamental reality and the velocity or the speed with which the price increases. And this is because if the price increases way too fast, that might be a sign to sell, because the fundamental reality of Bitcoin at the time was that it was still a speculative asset. It was not some investment that was rivaling the payment processing power of Visa or MasterCard, and it certainly wasn't some world reserve currency, at least not at the time. And because it rose so quickly, that was a good sign to sell and just wait. Now, long term, I still believe in the cryptocurrency potential, but in the future, I'm gonna keep both of these lessons in mind as far as understanding what I should be investing in and why I'm putting my money where I am. Now, an important thing to understand is that I'm not trying to convince you to buy into cryptocurrency or to buy and invest in Bitcoin, because this really applies to virtually any other asset class, whether that's real estate or cryptocurrency or even dividend stocks. And I still own Bitcoin, and I would love to show you my portfolio, but I don't think that the YouTube gods would really like that very much. Wait, that's not the YouTube gods, what the heck? Now this is the YouTube algorithm gods. Somebody told me to put them in a sleeve, so I did. And here we are. When I want passive income and I rely on stable income, I still love my REITs and my blue chip dividend stocks. But when it comes to finding my growth opportunities, I tend to hedge my bets with crypto. And right now I have around $45,000 of my own money invested into that space. And that just means that it's a couple percentage points of my net worth. And if I lose it and it goes to zero, then it's not life-changing money. Because I'm young and I can still have a relatively good income, I can still recover that money and it's not gonna be life-changing. But if it goes somewhere, then that can really be life-changing for me. So it really all depends, but I'm no longer a speculator and I'm investing for the long term. But speaking of investing, and if you'd like to get started, you could get 3 free stocks, 2 of which can be had from Webull. If you create your free account, that stock can be valued up to $250. And if you fund your account $100, you'll get another free stock valued up to $1,400. You can get your 3rd free stonk from Robinhood, and that's 3 free stonks to get you started with stonking, and I will stop saying that. Stocks. You can follow me on Instagram. I post there from time to time. Love you. Thank you so much. I know this feels like a really bad episode of Black Mirror, but we will get through this and the world will be a better place. Everything's gonna be all right. And it seems a little odd to make these videos, and I feel so unimportant right now in relation to everything that's going on in the world. But again, better times are ahead. Love you all. Thank you so much. I will see you all back here on Monday and Friday. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Could we